Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of EPM Chronicles and Confessions. We've got Guy Maizels here with us. Guy, could you walk us through your career journey from your beginnings as a trainee accountant to becoming a renowned expert in EPM solutions?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure about renowned, but yeah, I can walk you through how I've got to where we are today. Um, yeah, wow. I mean, when I sit back and reflect, actually, it's quite powerful for me because if I think about where I am today, I'm ultimately running my own business, co-founder of Plan Assist, who are a growing team of expert, highly skilled planning technology consultants. We're implementing cutting edge solutions for Formula One teams. Um, yeah, wow. I mean, I'll get into the detail on the Formula One stuff a bit later in our chat. But it's an incredible place really for me to be at this point in my life. I realize I'm very fortunate in being able to say these words, I love what I do. And yet it's strange to think, you talk about the journey. When we're growing up, right, we're taught, oh, okay, what's your path? What do you want to be when you're older? What do you want to do when you leave school? There is no way I could have pointed and said, oh, yeah, I want to be doing this because I didn't know it existed, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I feel I've been very lucky on my career path so far, and I know there's lots to come. Um, but yeah, I just recognize the element of luck really that's had to play. Um, I'll tell you how we got here, right? So I'll let you in on a little secret, Tim. Not many people know. Um, I flunked my A levels big time.
Oh,
Um, so I'm not a gifted academic by any means.
yeah.
Ultimately, I just didn't care. I was at school. I was more interested in having fun with my friends than school and education. Got to university, took an accounting degree, um, and yeah, perhaps just another example, perhaps of how open and honest I am.
Mm,
I had a significant life event, second year of uni. Actually, my father passed away,
yeah.
and that kind of switched on. It kind of turned my brain on, really. So kind of from that moment on, I've been highly motivated every day in yeah, just going after life, really going after what interests me and what I feel that I can add value in. And yeah, the motivation comes in many forms, right? That was one early part in my career, and more latterly, I've got 4-year-old twins, and that brings with it its own set of motivations, right? And through my career, I've taken a when I look back on it, an interesting path. Again, it's not something I would have predicted, but so I left university, accounting and finance trained, into more of a traditional route. So I went into a top accounting firm in London, went through my chartered accounting training with them, experienced audit, financial accounts, taxation, those kind of things. That really gave me my bedrock of experience, right? So you get to know lots of different businesses, lots of different business models. You get used to talking to senior people within the organizations as part of your
Yeah.
roles there. Really gave me my fundamentals. But I've always had an interest in creating things. And accounting for me personally, it wasn't something that I saw my career sort of being in a long-term space. Now, from there, again, I got quite lucky and got an opportunity to join an amazing team of financial model assurance. That was with BDO. They're probably one of the best in the world at what they do. They win awards every single year for their work. That gave me the modeling best practice, right? So our job there was to tear through financial models, mostly in Excel. That gave me the bedrock of, right, what's a good model, what's a bad model, and which ones are going to break, which ones are not, which ones are robust, etc. Again, I wasn't creating. So from there, again, a bit of luck played its hand, and I got an amazing job to join a growing team in the EPM world. So this was an adaptive specialist provider. This was pre-Workday acquisition. And I was fortunate enough to be in that space ever since. I've moved around a little bit, so I went from that company. They got acquired by a larger Workday practice. I moved from there into IBM to be the sort of global SME for adaptive within the practice. And as of summer 2023, Plan Assist was born, really. So yeah, and we can go into the details of that. Ultimately, I'm excited to see what's around the corner. If history is anything to go by, I probably don't know it exists yet. So yeah, keen to see what comes.
Fantastic, thank you. So what drew you to specialize in Workday adaptive planning and pigment planning, and how have these platforms evolved during your time working with them?
Yeah, for me, and different people have probably different answers for these kind of product-based questions, right? But for me, the thing that draws me into them is the fact that they are latest generation technology in the world of EPM, right? So unlike the legacy systems that have been around a bit longer, they're the new kids on the block. They're learning from taking the best bits and avoiding the worst bits of some of those legacy systems. And a big part of that, how it manifests itself, it sounds soft, but it's really not, is the UI, the user interface, right? So the look and feel of something, when you go into it, we all know first impressions count, right, in any aspect of life. And you go into a system and you feel, oh yeah, this is polished, it's easy to navigate. You instantly have trust in what you're doing, right? You feel comfortable carrying out your tasks in that system without fear of, am I clicking the wrong thing? Am I going to break something? We can't work in that kind of environment, right? So this is kind of what attracted me to those two products in particular. Take it a step further, the configuration of them, right? So I'm aware that many EPM products on the market are more IT focused in how they're built, so they're more code based. I am in no way, shape, or form coder or integrations or anything of that. I'm an accountant ultimately, right? I grew up with Excel formulas, calculations, and these systems are designed with that in mind. So they're designed for people like me and my contemporaries to pick up these solutions and build, own, and maintain our models ourselves. So yeah, that's really what drew me to them. Again, the UI, for people watching this, I'd encourage you to take a look at our website, Plan Assist, theplanassist.com. We've got some screenshots on there, some videos of the products. You can see for yourselves how they look, and I'm sure Tim will pop a link to the site on the video.
Sure. So of the over 50 adaptive planning engagements you've delivered, could you share one or two that stand out to you as particularly impactful or challenging?
50, wow, yeah, it's a big number actually. There's a lot of different experience in there, good and bad, but lots of learning. I'm going to save the Formula One example, I think, because I want to pick up on that a bit later. There are two that really stand out for me, right? So if I think of an impactful one that was, I was about to say recent, but it's actually not now. It's probably two or maybe even 2 to 4 years old now. Wow. So this was in the time of COVID. So lockdowns in the UK had just about been announced, and the government was sort of bringing forward the concept of I can't remember what they call them now, but essentially COVID loans, right? Support for businesses through the economic impact of the pandemic. And at the time, this was in a previous company, but we had a client come to us in the consulting space, and they were struggling. They were in a situation where they had, a matter of weeks cash left in their business, and they were needing to explore the viability of and apply for potentially a COVID loan. Now, we were able to get them up and running with
Right.
a solution that had enough intelligence to, because they're a global business as well, so this is the challenge. So it wasn't just a kind of, we can knock something together. We had to pull together multiple data sources into one place,
Sure.
model out the forecast, but also with the sole intention of what are the variables. So, okay, what happens if we do this amount of furlough and receive this amount of COVID loan? What do we need to stay afloat here? And how long does it give us, right? Ultimately, yeah, we were able to work furiously with them for 2 weeks. And they were an intense 2 weeks, to be honest, of my life, but well worth it to get them up and running on their system. They took that, they applied for the loan, got the loan, and they're thriving today. Now, I don't pretend that, the EPM solution kept them alive, but what it did do is it gave them the visibility and the confidence to say, okay, this is the business decision we need to take here, and we're confident in the outcome it's going to produce. So yeah, that would be one example. The other one, I'll apologize to my ex-colleagues over the years, because they've probably heard this example to death from various people. But if I think of a challenging one, I will say to you a chicken farm, Tim. So to a chicken farm. Not just any chicken farm though. So this is one of the leading world's biggest producers of chickens, eggs. Which one comes first? I don't know. But so, and this is really just demonstrates the flexibility of these tools, right? So they are far from just a consolidation tool or just a finance tool.
Yes.
Their particular use case was modeling the life cycle of cohorts. So this particular week's batch of eggs and next week's batch of eggs, right? So the batch of eggs, they hatch, and the business knows the life cycle that these chicks will go through. There are assumptions in terms of the modeling. So you have like attrition. There are different stages of their life where logistics and cost will come into it. So vaccination schedules, feed, ramp up, logistics. So at a certain point, they'll get transferred to a bigger location, potentially in a different country. And just a really unique and quirky use, to be honest, of the tool. I'm still in touch with the team there today, and they're still using the tool. I'm pleased to say. So just really to illustrate that these tools are capable of anything. And you think, I've delivered 50 of these types of solutions now. So the experience is from every corner you can imagine, right? So they're probably the two that stand out for me.
Cool. So how has your background as a chartered accountant influenced your approach to implementing and enhancing EPM solutions?
I don't think I could have done my job without it. Really, businesses vary greatly, and maybe that's a cliche, maybe it's not, I don't know, but even within the same industry, right, the business models and the way they approach things, their processes can be wildly different. And the thing is, it's finance that's the glue between all of them, right? So any business, even if you're a charity, you're going to care about things like cash flow, right? Just an example, but the finance part is the one constant on all of our deployments, really. Even within the teams themselves, right? So we talked about chickens then, but even within that business, for that business to operate, finance is the bit that runs through everything. So you take marketing, you take operations, HR. Yes, they have their own planning interests and KPIs, but out the back of it, the output, it drives finance, it drives cost, it drives income.
Sure.
So I think having that financial skill set has been critical to be able to proactively design their solutions, and be able to add value to the conversation. 9 times out of 10, our customers are actually within the finance team of a business, and being able to speak the same language really helps.
Cool, thank you. So you emphasize a strong client focus and the importance of keeping the future state front of mind. How do you ensure these priorities are maintained throughout a project?
Yeah, so perhaps first let me just briefly explain what I mean by that. And I think we have that on our site, that particular comment. Now, keeping future state front of mind, and remember, this is going into my modeling best practice era now, right? So this is where this comes in. If Tim, say you were going to say, Guy, can you build me a property, right? Now I could say, yeah, sure, I'll build your property. I'll ask you some basic questions about where you are today. Okay, so you have a family of 4, you have a dog, whatever, you want to live in the country. Okay. I take that away and I start to build the house. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the foundations in. I am not in construction, by the way, so people will probably butcher this example for those that understand construction, but it should hold. I'll build you a foundation. There'll be a certain footprint and a certain depth. I'll go and build that based on what I think you are doing today and will suit your needs of today. If I don't ask you the questions about, well, Tim, where do okay, you have this now, where do you want to be in 5-10 years time? Now, if your response is, well, actually, yeah, this is where we are right now, but we've got this idea. We want to build a multi-story block of flats. Our family is going to live in, 1 or 2 of them, and we're going to lease the others out and make a business out of it. The foundations we would build for that would be very different. Yeah. But we wouldn't necessarily need to build the full set of flats to start with.
Yeah, yes.
The same is true with modeling, EPM as well, right? If we know where the client wants to be, when we take design decisions, we can make sure we're not closing doors, we're not laying ourselves traps for the future, we're making it accommodating as the business grows into its next phase of its roadmap.
Sure.
And how do we bring that into conversation? Every single time. So even before people become customers of ours, the first thing we're talking to them about is, okay, I want to get to know your business. I want to get to know, okay, what are your challenges today? What are your ambitions, right? Where do you want to get to? What are the goals of the business? And we align everything we do to that. We go through the build, design decisions are taken with that in mind, even through to post go live, documentation, making sure they can support their systems onwards in their journey. So it's kind of like the central thread, really, Tim, that runs all the way through our practice.
Sure, thank you. So what are the common pitfalls companies face when adopting new planning solutions, and how can they be avoided?
So similar to the last question, really. So in my experience, investing time in planning and consideration of where you want to be up front is just that. It's an investment. And I have seen the end result where companies have failed or consultants have failed to take that, not from my practice or people I've worked with, but I've seen the end result nonetheless, and we've gone in to help them get out of the situation they're in. It really avoids additional cost. It keeps the overall cost down, because if you think of the foundation example, right, if we have to dig up all those foundations and relay them, we're paying more in the long run. It's going to take a lot more time, it's going to cost more money. Yes. And having that foresight, that clarity of where you want to be, helps to make sure that when you get there, you're also ready for it, because these are big transformations, really, that some of these organizations are going through. Yes. And it's not always easy. It doesn't always just happen, right? So it may be that the organization needs to bring in some additional skills. It may be that they need to build out their teams, invest in other technologies, and having that foresight and that plan really helps to make things successful.
Thank you. So from your extensive experience across various industries, how do you see the role of EPM solutions evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, it would be silly if I didn't say AI. So yeah, I would expect, like everyone, really, we're expecting a big push in AI, and where I see probably the first entrance of that will be in automation, right? So we all know certain things. So AI can be used to analyze historical data and provide a predictive forecast. So the tools that we work with, adaptive planning and pigment planning, they both have that today. It's there. Now, would it be used to replace planning and forecasting? No. But it would be used to automate, to speed up some of the processes, right? So it can provide the team with a base, and maybe hopefully a sensible base of, right, this is where we think your plan should rest. And then it's up to the human to add the intelligence of, right, okay, well, based on what we know that the algorithm doesn't know, this is where we're going to adjust and flex. That becomes a quicker process. So I would expect that to continue and evolve as we go through. But again, coming back to something I said earlier, I think user experience. We've seen, if you look at the trend over the last 20 years, right, you've got the EPM systems of old, EPM systems of new, and the direction of travel seems to be ease of use, functionality, user interface, rolling out to a more decentralized way of planning, where ultimately, I think the old systems really were designed for finance, and as a result, they look very financy, lots of numbers, tables of information, and not everyone works that way. So if we want to get our marketing colleagues, HR, sales, etc., the system needs to be accommodating to those backgrounds. So I would expect further developments ultimately in that space, making it more convenient and accessible for people to use.
Sure. So as someone who has taken a leadership role in tech through co-founding Plan Assist, what key qualities do you believe are essential for leading a tech-driven business?
Yeah, it makes me uncomfortable, that question. I don't really think of myself as a leader, to be honest. What we have at the moment in Plan Assist is very much a team.
Yes.
And ultimately, like any business, we have clear objectives of what we're trying to achieve over the next, say 5 years, and every year between now and then. We're willing to place strategic bets to achieve those goals. Yeah. And I think that's probably fairly key, I think, in my role currently within Plan Assist, is to be willing to place those bets on behalf of the team, right? Honestly, whether I've got the right qualities for a leader, we'll find out. I don't know. Perhaps ask my team. But ultimately, as I said at the beginning, right, I'm fairly open, fairly honest. We're all people. We've all got our own desires, our own challenges, and our own set of personal circumstances, right? So, I try my best to remember this, particularly, in the pinch points within business and life. And I would expect our team to do the same. So hopefully kind of leading by example in that respect, and encouraging people to act that same way. I would say, though, in terms of leadership, what do we think is right and wrong? To be honest, I think much like our best products, right? If we put the product hat on for a second, they need to adapt. There's no one size fits all and one answer to every problem. So I think adaptability is probably key in addressing leadership as well.
Sure, thank you. So Formula One is known for its fast pace and precision. What unique challenges do F1 teams face that EPM solutions like Workday adaptive planning and pigment planning help to address?
Yeah. So we're very fortunate. I did say we're currently working with F1 teams at the moment on some amazing builds for them. Now, I can't go into the specifics for contractual reasons, but I can talk to you about the kind of the use cases and where they can benefit Formula One teams in general, right? So if we think about Formula One, what do we think? We think peak performance of technology and engineering and in everything they do. is the same, right? We have a team of plan assist. Ultimately, we have a team of perfectionists.
Yes.
We have our tools, adaptive planning and pigment planning, and they are, as I said, cutting edge, latest generation technology. Those three things combined, we are seeing as being a very good match for our Formula One clients. So the use case, though, we take these tools and we take these combination of people and product, and think about F1 for a second. So there are so many decisions that these teams take all the time. Now there's on the track and off the track, right? So that becomes what if. So ultimately, with these decisions becomes the question. There's lots of questions. They need answers to questions. Now, giving a environment where what if becomes robust and easy and quick, fast is the key theme through the whole of F1, is super key. Taking the team away from kind of more bottlenecked processes and solutions and systems onto something that is real time, accurate, one source of data. Ultimately, they can reach these decisions faster and with more confidence. The departmental structure of Formula One teams, I mean, collaboration is key for any business, right? We all know that. In a Formula One team, though, it's just so much more focused in that the end result is binary. There is one single goal that everyone is trying to achieve, right? And collaboration and harmonization between all of the departments who are all working for that same end goal is going to make or break the success of the team, right? And having these solutions that we talk about, adaptive planning and pigment planning, it provides just that, provides collaboration within their planning. It sounds so simple, but it is so effective. So having the collaboration for the business, absolutely key. We then consider the race results, right? So the things that they're forecasting. I was talking about race results. So this is one of the really fun, and we talked about chicken farms earlier, but here we are talking about race results. Forecasting the race calendar. So this is our race calendar that we can see for this year. This is what we think it might be for the future years. Off of that, the teams will be thinking about, okay, where do we think we're going to place? Where do we think each driver is going to place? And the trickle down effect of this goes through the whole organization, because the race calendar, think about this. So there's logistics. We need to ship all of our equipment over to these races around the globe. So there's logistics and costs that come with that. There's travel. Okay, we need to get our people there. Well, who's going? How much does that cost? Where are they staying? How much does that cost? What's the cash impact of all of this? What happens if in our race calendar we think a particular race gets cancelled or delayed? All of it has knock-on effect.
It does, yeah.
Race results. So okay, we come first. That's amazing. There's a cost. So we have our drivers are probably incentivized to come first in a particular race. Towards the end of the year, if we have a particular championship position, perhaps there's a team bonus for the staff. Prize fund for the following year. So if we come first in the constructors, next year we get more prize money. With that prize money, we can spend more on the organization, but within the confines of the cost cap. So, and this is again is everything in the world of Formula One is like we would see in other businesses, but just magnified.
Yes.
So we talk about change, right? These solutions that we build are always helping our clients adapt to change. Now, in Formula One, the pace of that change and the impact of it is just so severe. So in this world, these businesses are operating where the confines of what they can do, the F1 cost cap, are dictated externally to them. So it's not them setting their own budgets or their own targets. This is how much you can spend. Now there's interpretation of those rules, of course, but it's dictated to them. Now those rules are subject to change externally, frequently. And every time that changes, the business needs to change and adapt with it and understand what it means and take business decisions. The locations, so their race calendar, that changes every single year. And with that, as we talked about the trickle through effect, the teams. So, okay, there's some new teams coming to the paddock this year and next year, right?
Sure.
The driver lineup, it's so fundamentally just ever changing, ever evolving. And the key part really is the competition. So there's always competition in business, but again, Formula One, it's aggressive, it's fierce, and mistakes are costly ultimately, and they're not going to go unanswered by their competition. So in terms of the use case of Formula One, take what you would normally know about a typical kind of business environment and amplify everything ultimately. But yeah, it's been an amazing project or projects to work on.
Fantastic. So you mentioned this in a little bit in the previous questions, but looking at other sports too. In a sport where milliseconds matter, how do planning and forecasting tools contribute to decision-making process on and off the track?
Yeah, ultimately, yeah, feeding on from the last point, Tim. So decisions need to be made quickly, and they need to be made with confidence. So the team need to really trust the information they're looking at, and they need a system and a process that isn't giving them bottlenecks and errors. It is quite that simple. That's how it benefits them. Speed and accuracy equals confident decisions,
Sure. So working with F1 teams must be quite different from your other clients. Can you talk about the collaborative process and how you tailor solutions to meet their specific needs?
Yeah. The environment's different. The use case a little bit different, right? The specifics. Actually working with them, it's pretty much the same as our other customers, right? And what I mean by that is we approached the design and configuration and planning with our Formula One customers the same as we would all of our others. We get to know them, we get to know their business in a lot of detail. And again, their challenges, their ambitions. What is it we're moving away from? What is it we're trying to help you solve right now today? And what are the ambitions so that we can design the solution that is fit for the future? So we take the same approach. We dive deep into their existing models and processes and workflows to understand how everything's working. And from there, we kind of go through the process of enhancement, evolution, revolution. But yeah, we take a collaborative approach, same as we would with our other customers. We design solutions with them. And I think that's fairly key because we're very good, EPM consultants in general, right? But particularly at Plan Assist at understanding businesses quickly. We've worked with many different ones over the years, so we're quite adept at getting into the key parts. But we are not so foolish as to think that we know the same amount as our customer about their own business, right? So when we design their solutions, we're doing it with them.
Yes.
We will go through an iterative design process. So we won't go away in a dark room, come back after a year or however many months it is, and say, here's your solution. We develop prototypes. We go on screen shares. We have meetings with them to review them together. How does this look? How does it feel? Does this get you to where you want to be? Does it solve the challenges? Does it meet your ambitions? And that's really our approach for all of our clients, and including our F1 customers.
Okay, thank you. So lastly, being so close to the world of F1, has this experience influenced your personal interest or views on the sport? What's it like being behind the scenes of such a high-octane environment?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I've always been a Formula One fan, so it's of a particular interest to me personally, being able to work with these teams. It's so difficult to draw a parallel, really. It's like entering another world. When you go to the offices and you visit the teams, it's you're kind of peeking behind the curtain of what you see on TV. And I do have to confess I watch the races with even more interest now. And it's almost like a fun extension of work. So yeah, it's good.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Guy, today. Really enjoyed it. Very insightful and a peek into very interesting sport. So yeah, let's do podcast in the future. It'd be great to look at some of these things in more detail. Thank you so much and talk to you soon.
You're welcome, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you.